We ain't in New York and London, baby. We in the south of Italy. It's not gonna work for me. Let me tell y'all something. I'm back. And welcome finally to the renovation series. Woohoo! Okay, first things first though, before we get into it, guys, there's one thing that we really need to celebrate, and that is hitting 1,000 subscribers. Yay! It took a little while, but we made it. Mama, we made it. I am happy that I am here, and it's something I definitely want to celebrate with you guys. So thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. Thank you to everyone who has watched, even during the time when I was away from the channel for a few weeks. You are so appreciated, and I hope that you guys continue to stick around. We got a lot of good stuff coming. So yay me, but yay us. Ciao ragazzi. If you're new here, my name is Anise, and I'm an American living between London and Italy. To get you a little bit up to speed, we are diving into the renovation of my 1970s beach villa on the Ionian coast in the south of Italy. One of the first and most pressing jobs we need to take care of was the roof. For those of you who have watched my house hunting series, you would have seen a lot of damage. The roof was leaking. The house is at least 50 years old. So to be expected, but ain't no point on doing work inside the house if water's gonna come in and ruin it all. So one of the primary, most urgent jobs on our list was doing the roof. Now, to give you a little context of like how this video is gonna go. You guys remember Giorgio, right? Our translator, my friend from the house hunting series. His family has been a godsend to us in this whole process and getting set up in Italy. And particularly his uncle Roberto has been so helpful to us. He's incredibly handy, and he more or less has been serving as like our on-the-ground, on-site property manager for the renovation project when we are not there or when we can't be there in person. A large part of the roof has been done because he was there moving it along. What we're gonna do in today's video, I'm basically gonna go through the roof renovation with you through these series of clips that Roberto has been sending me over a period of weeks while overseeing the renovation. Not really much more of a need to chit chat. Let's just jump right into it. Oh, I will say apologies for the quality. As I mentioned, I wasn't the one filming it and wasn't using my camera, but that's okay. Sometimes it's like that. I'm very thankful to Roberto for sending across these clips to me so I could see what was going on with the roof. Okay, let's jump right into it.
Buongiorno Anise. Allora, io ho visto che dovevo venire qui ad aprire.
Okay, so this is the first day of the roof renovation getting started. Roberto is just showing me how he started clearing out our garage because over the weeks that the men will be working on the roof, it'll be useful for them to be able to store equipment and other things inside the garage. A little flashback to what the garage used to look like. It was full of stuff. Okay, so the first day of work entailed the men working on the iron beams, lining the perimeter of the roof. In this footage from the initial viewing we did, you can see briefly that some of the cracks were showing where the walls meet the roof. This isn't totally uncommon for beach houses in the region, but it made sense for us to reinforce those beams at the same time that we were redoing the whole roof. So on day one, the guys cut through the stucco, exposing all the beams, and they sprayed some sort of kind of like iron protectant on the iron beams. You see there?
Ciao Anise, come state? Io sono tornato qui a casa, loro sono andati via verso l'una, hanno raccolto tutto il materiale. Allora, il lavoro che hanno fatto la protezione del...
Okay, so Roberto's come back to the house after the men have left for the day, and he's updating me on the work, showing me how they repaired the travi with the two types of material. So there's one that you see that's closer to the beam. It's a darker material, and it reinforces and protects the beams, and then they've gone ahead and plastered over that.
c'è una scavata.
Tu vuoi lasciare poi da dove vai normale?
Travetti con i mattoni forati sono.
Okay, so this is probably a good time just to kind of get you guys a little bit up to speed on like what actually the plan was for the roof. To make a long story short, we have gone around to different contractors, some that we just kind of met serendipitously, some that were recommended to us, and you will see through this renovation series that that will be a little bit of a theme. But essentially, the reason why we are doing the roof the way that we're doing it is because we had met with a first contractor who essentially created a plan for the roof renovation for us. And this is somebody who was incredibly knowledgeable, and we really had a lot of faith in the plan that he created. How do I like say this diplomatically? For certain reasons, we decided to not move forward with that contractor, but we liked the plan that he created. So I essentially just used that as a model for directing the contractors we did choose to do the roof on like how to do the roof. So a part of that original plan was making sure that we add a little bit of insulation into the roof at a minimum 5 centimeters, because in the south of Puglia, you don't really need more than that. But the idea is you want to put in some insulation that helps keep the home warm during the cold season, but that also helps keep the AC and cool air in during the hot season once we have like AC and stuff. So we knew we were going to put some insulation in. Also, the prior contractor had recommended simply reusing the stones of the roof once you take them up. So that was a part of our plan moving forward with the contractors we did assign the roof to. More on that later. But the idea of reusing the stones was very attractive to us. We like to be sustainable. Where we are, there's a huge culture of sustainability, and like, if it ain't broke, why not reuse it, right? Of course, the stones are very weathered because they're old, but you can like sand them, you can do a kind of polishing of them or like power washing to get rid of a lot of that gunk. So that was the plan. So if you have these questions while we're moving forward, just keep that in mind. All right, let's get back on the roof and see what the guys are doing next.
Anise, buongiorno. Allora, Elio.
So with Roberto overseeing everything, the contractors start clearing the roof of items that we don't want there, like a rusty old clothing line, an empty water tank that used to be in that corner. There was an AC external unit in the middle of the roof that I wanted removed.
Ciao Anise, buona giornata e un saluto a Anna. Anise, stavamo pensando un'altra cosa insieme a Elio, visto che qui devono togliere le pietre.
All right, so as the men start laying down the insulation, Roberto suggests that we should start thinking about light and electricity for the roof. Because, you know, we're tearing the whole roof up anyways. It would make sense to consider where we might want to put electrical outlets. And so I share with Roberto my plan for where I want seating and entertaining spaces to eventually be. And we then make decisions on where it would make most sense for the electrical outlets to be based on my practical design choices.
Stavamo predisponendo eventualmente un impianto elettrico che adesso ti verrebbe a costare poco senza fare tracce, insomma, si passa il tubo sotto prima che loro mettono le pietre. Con un tubo risolviamo e ti abbiamo creato dei punti dove dovresti avere la corrente. Ciao Anise, buongiorno, io sto qui a casa tua.
Once the insulation gets placed down, the men start raking this loose material over it. I think it's called calcarenite. It's like a limestone, like it's a ground up limestone kind of dust. And over that dust, they start placing the stone slabs. This step is really important because the roof needs to have a slight slope so that water properly runs off into the gutter and drains when it rains. And I particularly love this part because it made my roof look like a beach. And here you can see what some 50 odd years of weathering does to natural stone. So those beige stones are simply the underside of the stone that you saw there that looked black. That black is like algae and moss and that kind of stuff.
Ciao Anise, buongiorno. Qui stanno reiniziando di nuovo a partire con le pietre. Ciao Anise, buonasera. Allora, io sono ritornato di nuovo qui a casa vostra per vedere, dopo che sono andato via, cosa avevano fatto. Hanno tirato il materiale per iniziare a riportare di nuovo le pietre tutte a livello, perché si erano resi conto che i livelli erano troppo alti. Ci aggiorniamo. Ciao Anise. Ciao Anise, buonasera. Sono ritornato adesso. Guarda, tramonto.
Roberto's such a sweetheart.
Allora, loro stamattina si erano tirati già questa guida.
He'd always send us videos and photos of sunsets and the flowers in our yard. He's just like a very wonderful, sentimental handyman. I mean, he's Italian after all, right?
Ciao Anise, buonasera. Il lavoro sta continuando.
Okay, so at this phase in the process, Roberto's starting to have some concerns about the stones not being entirely even in height, like not being super level. So he brings that up to the contractor. And that's great because that's a big part of why we have Roberto there. Because we want the work done, but I don't know what to look for to make sure it's done properly. So it's really wonderful to have Roberto there.
Ciao Anise, buonasera.
All right, so at this point, I start having some questions about why it seems some stones are flipped underside up and others are put back in place with the dark side up. But I'm more or less reassured that we're going to do the power washing and sanding so, you know, those stones can become more even in tone, which was always the plan, and it's something that I had always discussed with the guys early on. As expected, a number of the stones broke when being removed from the roof, so there's a whole skip that was brought in for removal of the waste. And the following day, a new empty skip would be coming in for more removals, and new stones will be craned in.
Ciao Anise, buongiorno. Stamattina è arrivato il camion che sta scaricando le pietre nuove, quelle che non bastano per finire sul tetto. Qui hanno portato l'altro scarrabile.
Roberto! Wow!
Grazie mille per tutti i tuoi lavori.
Wow!
Che bello, mi piace molto. Grazie.
Ciao Anise.
So the workers start sealing the joints between the stones and prepping the walls of the parapet, which is like kind of the little border along the edges of the roof. So prepping the walls of the parapet to be stuccoed and painted. You see they start stuccoing the walls of the parapet here. These are the walls of the parapet after the stucco is dried. I kind of like the texture. I like the texture of dried stucco.
hanno messo il canale di scarico per l'acqua.
The drain for the rainwater.
Ciao Anise, buongiorno. Allora, adesso
And then the guys began power washing the stones with the intention of removing a lot of that old algae and moss. So, I'm watching these updates, and this is when I start getting a bit nervous, to be honest. Because that power washing don't look like it's doing a damn thing. All I'm seeing are the stones get darker and darker, more in stark contrast to the new stones. What it is doing is removing a layer of construction dust that was keeping me from seeing what the roof really looked like before. So remember 5 minutes ago when I was on the roof and was like, Roberto, wow, que bello, how beautiful, I love it. The reality is, at that time, the roof was covered in like so much white dust, so the roof more or less looked pretty consistent, like even tone to me. And then on top of that, I was wearing sunglasses, so I wasn't really getting the full effect and seeing the intricacies and the details of the color of the stone.
buongiorno Anise.
All right, and then when I get this update, I'm having like a mild panic attack because this roof looks wild and like not in a good way. When these videos come through to me, I just take screenshots to send back to Roberto with voice notes, just talking about how disjoint the stones look, and I'm feeling very nervous about that because I want the roof to be beautiful. And then when I arrive at the property myself a few days later, I take my own photos because there are things that I'm not super happy with. Like the grouting is kind of messy and it's splattered everywhere. It's splattered even on brand new stones. There's stones that are a little bit broken. And then I send screenshots of what were reference photos that I had sent in the very beginning. Just to be like, guys, like what happened here? How do we get this to be the beautiful roof that I envisioned and was hoping for it to be? So the reality is that I really enjoyed working with these contractors. Let me tell y'all something. In the south of Italy, it is not super common for you to find contractors that show up on time every single day and like do the work. Yeah, we have these contractors that are working on the roof for us, and they would show up like clockwork at like 7 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They also worked on Saturdays. Yeah, like these men were putting in the work and they were reliable and we can count on them. There's a reason why we chose them. I also knew going into this like south of Italy renovation, I would need to kind of not shift my expectations, but sometimes you need to adapt for the culture that you're in. Yes, I'm a New York girl living in London, right? New York and London, there's a certain kind of way things are expected to be done. But we ain't in New York and London, baby. We in the south of Italy. So, you know, I just wanted to make sure that like, I'm not the kind of chick who's gonna sacrifice her vision. Sorry, not sorry. But at the same time, I wanna be like sensitive to like where I am. I want my house to be like culturally accurate to the region, and I also want to interact with people in a way that is considerate and professional, respectful. But yeah, like these messy lines and paint splatter and rough grouting was not gonna work for me. So I had to let that be known and made clear. And on that note, I think this might be a good place for me to leave you guys. And you can find out in the next episode, Renovating the Roof Part 2, of what happens when I bring up these concerns. I'll leave you there. I'm really happy to be back. I hope you guys are glad that I'm back posting again too. And listen, just because your girl got 1,000 subscribers now doesn't mean that she's not trying to grow more. So make sure you hit that subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Until next time, ci vediamo!